Good morning and welcome to this digital series of the Geneva Peace Week 2021, which will bring the voices of sciences involved in the prevention of environmental and water conflicts at a local level. In particular, we would like to bring the voices of a sector called STEM, which stands for Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics. This session will provide some examples on how science diplomacy can serve the prevention of water conflicts from UNESCO Chair and a Colombian NGO. Usually, science diplomacy is defined as the diplomacy for sciences or sciences in diplomacy, where countries promote scientific and international relations on specific topics, or where scientific expertise would support the decision makers. But this punctual involvement of the STEM sectors to offer their point of view at one particular moment are leading to all the sorts of environmental conflicts. But what if science diplomacy can be defined as science with diplomacy, where sciences and diplomacy are working together to answer concrete and specific issues? This way of collaboration, with sciences becoming an active stakeholders of environmental peacebuilding project, could reduce silos still present between our disciplines. This session aims to showcase how STEM sectors could be organized in a way to offer its expertise as a mobile task force. We will provide the example where academia and the research center got together under the umbrella of UNESCO Chair SIMEV, or where experts from STEM, social and managerial sciences got structured in operational NGOs called Pentagon Way for Research and Development. This session would like to discuss concrete examples on how STEMs were applied on the ground and offer solutions in Morocco and Colombia to the population. Note that new approaches can be developed for collective actions and impact on the ground. We hope this session will inspire both STEM and peace-building communities to cross the barriers of their own disciplines and to engage a new era of dialogues and projects more than ever needed to address the 21st century challenges and its related conflicts.
The Chair is an international university partnership certified by UNESCO since 2004. It has been funded by Professor Louis Cotte in 2004, and he was the former director of the European Institute of Membrane. The chair is attached to the National Engineering School of Chemistry in Montpellier. The backup scientific lab is the European Institute of Membrane. SIMEV is a part of the UniTwin chair programs, which support a network of more than 700 higher education institutions in 117 countries. And SIMEV is also a part of the International Hydrological Program and belongs to the water family. The lab, the backup lab of the chair is doing research, education, valorization of membrane materials and processes, and the chair helps us to promote the application of membranes technologies, from design of membranes to application, for example, for water cycle, health, environment, gas separation, energy production, and biotechnology, and so on. In the case of water, the link with the chair, the SIMEV chair, is very obvious, because membranes are physical barriers ensuring the separation of mineral, organic, viral or bacterial contaminants from water, and this offers suitable solution to allow better access to drinking water. Also, membranes technology can be coupled with renewable energies, solar, wind, to meet many of the challenges related to the water, to the access to water in developing countries. So this is very important for providing access to quality water for drinking, also the treatment and preservation of the resource. And from this point of view, with a general objective to promote the application of membrane technologies in southern hemisphere countries, the chair contributes to achieve the sustainable development goals. For example, we are doing trainings such as the Membrane Science and Technologies School, which contribute to the SDG 4 and 17, as well as our networking actions. We support also our R&D project, which contribute to the SDG 6, 7, and 11 of the United Nations. Relying on several big expertise from scientists, engineers, and researchers in Montpellier, in France, particularly at the European Institute of Membranes, SIMEV connects the academic world, policymakers, technical companies, and social actors to develop membranes technology for sustainable development. We gathered more than 25 academic partners on the 4 continents. We have contacts with local and international partner companies, and also political and social partners are involved as NGO, for example. And we are also included in national and international network as UNESCO, African Membrane Society, and so on. So our approach is always the same. We start from the general observation that the membrane technology are already used and are encountering a wide development, and that the worldwide environmental issues can be fulfilled by the use of membranes coupled with renewable energy as solar and wind, for example. So the organization of the school and the objective are always the same. The country hosting the school chooses the main topic of the session depending on its own need and wishes, and the objective is to raise the awareness of all the various stakeholders for the potential of membrane technologies to share current knowledge and stimulate local implementation. So the school are not another kind of scientific congresses. The aim is to build direct, immediate, and concrete application for the local population. These are some examples of the school we have. More than 18 today completed school. Most of them have led to medium or long-term collaborations, and this school have been settled in 12 different countries. The last one was in South Africa in 2019. So the approach is the same, always the same. We start from testimonies from local public institutions and business holders. We have presentation of membrane technologies made by the experts with various applications, and this led to discussion around potential collaboration and implementation to lead to towards achievable and concrete projects. We have a lot of examples on this website. As a summary, the chair, the objective of the chair is to increase communication and information sharing to develop education and knowledge, contributing to the achievement of the SDGs, to maintain and expand international partnership dynamics for the realization of new collaborative projects in response to the local needs.
La chaire a développé ses activités sous 2 volets, sous un volet formation et en particulier en mettant en place des écoles qui sont des écoles de quelques jours destinées à sensibiliser, former les gens aux technologies nouvelles qu'elle apporte, et sous forme d'actions de recherche conduites en général avec des partenaires industriels pour fournir une réponse pratique via la création d'installations à des problématiques de terrain, en particulier extraction d'eau potable ou dépollution d'une eau sale. L'intérêt des écoles STEM, sciences, technologies et membranes, c'est d'être des écoles de courte durée qui réunissent donc un certain nombre de participants venus du monde académique, du monde industriel, des milieux décisionnaires locaux. Et grâce à ces écoles, on peut se pencher ensemble durant quelques jours, avec nombre de forums de discussion, sur des réalisations possibles pour répondre aux questionnements que se posent les locaux. Et tout cela se fait dans une atmosphère qui est une atmosphère très détendue et différente des congrès classiques.
First, I would like to recall that it was in 2012 that 3 companies, Belectric, Famous and Commodus, have decided to join forces to set up a new kind of autonomous pilot dedicated to water treatment with membrane technology coupled with renewable energy, mainly solar and wind energy. This company were able to rely on the network existing around the UNESCO Chair SIMEV, which proposed to install the station in Morocco in partnership with the University of Kenitra. The installation was set up at Al Anwa High School in Sidi Taib, a suburb of Kenitra, around 15 kilometers in the southwest of the city. The objective was to supply the high school, about 1,000 students plus staff members, with drinking water, and to cover a large part of the electricity needed for education and daily life. The idea was also to allow the local population of Sidi Taib to benefit when possible from the surplus of water produced by using external tap. The companies have invested around 100,000 euros in equity to develop the pilot. The project has also received financial support from a private bank foundation in France and various other contributors. And this project was supported by the foundation of Prince Albert II of Monaco. The pilot has been inaugurated in April 2014, that's to say only 2 years after the start of the project, which is very short. I would like to stress 4 points that make this achievement quite unique from my point of view. First, the social dimension. By providing tailor-made solutions, this project made it possible to open up good operating conditions at the Anwa High School, for which the lack of water and energy was a major impediment. It also opened local population to new perspectives for access to drinking water, thus working for social stability. Second point, the research dimension. This unit is always serving as a research and training platform for teachers and students. Working is supervised by the University of Kenitra in relation with the SIMEV chair and the famous company. The third point concerns the political dimension. On behalf of King Mohammed VI, officials have stressed during the inauguration that the initiative was perfectly in line with the strategy adopted by the Kingdom of Morocco to increase in the 20s the share of renewable energies, more particularly solar and wind, to 30% of the overall power installed in Morocco. And fourth, concerning the method. This initiative underlines the merits of the method promoted by the SIMEV chef since the beginning, focusing on the design and implementation of operations stemming from local demands, meeting the needs of the population of the South by putting the knowledge and resource of the North at their service, developing balanced networks and partnership between all partners, in our case, industrialists from the North, researchers from the North and the South, officials in Morocco, a French region, Languedoc-Roussillon, etc. And to conclude, it is always by relying on strong human relations and by favoring bottom-up approaches around concrete cases that everything can be played and won.
So concerning the scientific challenges, we need to adapt the treatment scheme to the water resource and, of course, to the local context. So the first, we need to answer the water quality, whatever the state of the resources. We need then to minimize energy demand because we work on a decentralized treatment with solar energy, with wind energy. And of course, we need to make a tailored system which minimizes the maintenance and the chemical needs. So the question where, at this time, the question where how membrane technologies can achieve these goals. Are we able to design a specific membrane? Are we able to build a membrane and then to test and improve it in the lab? So as it was been already said, we work on from the membrane, from the material to the process, to the treatment unit. So the first step is a characterization step. We need to go deeper in the groundwater quality. For example, we are focused on the water quality from Morocco, and there is a lot of nitrate, as you can see. So we need to combine, we need to work on this compound, we need to remove it. So to remove it, we have to choose a membrane, good membranes. So do we need to use nanofiltration, reverse osmosis, or whatever we can use? We need then to make a proof of concept, and we do this proof of concept at the lab scale in the labs. And after that, we need to make the process running, and we need to optimize it in the real scale. So we need to make the scale up. And for this, two doctoral students from Morocco were recruited, and they work on the subject in order to appropriate the process. They try to understand the water transfer and the salt rejection. So they make training. We need to train the next generations in order to understand what's happened, in order to optimize hydrodynamic configuration, choose a good pressure, a good flow. We need to develop experts in these fields. So it was a real success, as we can see on this article. As a scientist, we need to share the knowledge, and the two publications were done on this topic.
L'idée d'utiliser les membranes n'est pas une idée qui est nouvelle. C'est celle qui a été élaborée en fait par la nature au cours des millénaires et des millénaires pour assurer le développement du vivant. Bon. L'idée en fait elle est simple. C'est l'idée de séparer deux milieux fluides par une couche mince, la membrane, pour permettre à ces deux milieux d'échanger entre eux ce qui doit l'être, tout en assurant une protection mutuelle des deux milieux et éviter que ne passe de l'un à l'autre ce qui peut être préjudiciable. Bon. Et je dirais que ce que l'on vit aujourd'hui avec le Covid est une illustration supplémentaire du bien fondé de cette idée-là. Le problème est que dans le domaine des réalisations humaines, donc on est capable de le faire aujourd'hui, on ne dispose pas de millénaires pour recréer au cas par cas tout ce dont on a besoin et faire face aux problèmes de nos sociétés. On est pris par un problème de temps excessivement court. Et on constate aujourd'hui que les membranes artificielles dont on dispose depuis, disons, 40-50 ans, ne sont que des copies excessivement rudimentaires des membranes biologiques, incapables de reproduire toutes les fonctions qu'on a sur ces membranes biologiques. Bon, on n'a pas eu le temps pour le faire. Ainsi, si on s'intéresse par exemple à la séparation gaz, on peut voir que la machinerie que l'on a dans les poumons est quelque chose d'extraordinaire, tant par les membranes qu'elle utilise que par les agencements de membranes qu'elle a mis en place. Et elle permet de faire des choses en n'utilisant aucune énergie extérieure, simplement de la bioénergie, ce qui est apporté par l'alimentation. On peut dire la même chose, par exemple, si dans le domaine des fluides, on s'intéresse aux mangroves. C'est un exemple que je prends souvent. La mangrove, en fait, vit dans un milieu aquatique salin. Pour assurer son développement, elle a besoin d'eau non saline et elle possède donc des interfaces membranaires qui lui permettent de faire ce travail de dessalement de l'eau de mer sans utiliser d'autre énergie que l'énergie solaire qu'elle récupère par ses feuilles. Elle dispose de membranes assez extraordinaires. Donc ça, on ne peut pas le faire aujourd'hui et on ne sait pas quand est-ce qu'on pourra le faire. Simplement, ce qu'on peut dire aujourd'hui, c'est qu'il y a un développement extraordinaire de ces membranes et on essaie de reproduire de plus en plus ce qui a été mis en place par la nature parce qu'on sent bien que c'est là la solution pour l'avenir. Donc je pense que le développement des technologies membranaires va être très très important dans les années futures. Et je dirais qu'aujourd'hui, ce qui manque le plus dans le domaine des technologies membranaires, ce sont encore les formations qui permettent de réaliser l'osmose entre ces aspects matériaux, ces aspects procédés, et que les gens ont trop tendance à penser à partir du point de vue qui est celui de la formation initiale. Ce qu'il faudrait, c'est en fait briser un peu les carcans qu'imposent aujourd'hui nos autorités académiques, pour qui il n'y a pas de salut pour les jeunes chercheurs, hors des publications, des facteurs d'impact, en fait tout ce qui fait leur carrière. Et ce sont des choses qui sont très dommageables pour les jeunes chercheurs parce qu'on les met dans des carcans qui sont relativement inhumains. Or, l'UNESCO, au travers de ses outils, notamment les chaires, permet d'aborder les problèmes sous un aspect excessivement plus humain. Le seul regret que j'ai, c'est que ces activités-là ne soient pas valorisées comme elles devraient l'être. Et c'est ce qui fait qu'aujourd'hui, bien, beaucoup de jeunes chercheurs se désintéressent de ces instruments de type chaire ou de type école associée UNESCO. Donc si on veut que les jeunes s'impliquent dans les relations nord-sud ou nord-sud-sud et puissent aborder ces problèmes, eh bien, il faudrait tout simplement prendre en compte ces travaux et leurs résultats dans l'avancement des carrières des jeunes. Finalement, si on veut résumer tout ça d'une façon très simple, c'est de dire que ce qui manque aujourd'hui dans notre système, c'est une culture bien comprise. C'est-à-dire une culture qui plonge profondément ses racines dans les problèmes et relations humaines pour s'en nourrir et nourrir à partir de ça, et plutôt que de se mettre dans des carcans qui sont finalement totalement inhumains et finalement très très limitants pour tout le monde. Eh bien, je dirais que j'ai vécu la différence sur deux types d'actions. Dans les grands programmes européens, on a des universitaires qui sont autour d'une table pour une période de 4 ans avec des industriels qui en général sont des grands groupes. Quand je dis grands groupes, c'est des groupes qui emploient 10 000 personnes et plus. Et on reste en fait autour d'approches qui sont relativement académiques, relativement impersonnelles, relativement entre guillemets humaines. Quand on est placé sur des problématiques type problématique SIMEV, on est sur des opérations de terrain avec des entreprises qui sont généralement des entreprises de petite taille et qui ont cherché à créer quelque chose autour de relations purement humaines, en partageant et en discutant énormément avec les gens qui ont les problèmes. On est sur une approche où il n'y a pas les gens du Sud et les gens du Nord, il y a simplement autour d'une table des gens qui chacun apporte leurs compétences et leurs demandes et permettent que soit mise en place une solution à un problème qui est présenté et qu'ils vivent tous les jours.
This is a part also of the training. What was important also for us is that we trained a lot of several dozen of students since maybe 20 or 40 or 30 years in the lab, and some of them or several of them return in their countries, and now they have a higher position and they can develop a project, and they come back to us. And what is very interesting that we have a very nice collaboration with friendship, esteem, and consideration to build these new projects. Human relationships are important because they are based on the training they have when they came to France, for example, and also they try to develop new projects in their countries, and we are just here to help, not to decide.
There is no doubt about the importance of academic and technical training, as well as capacity buildings, to deal with the problem of developing countries. But I would say that the real question is how to make sure that the people for whom they are intended can appropriate them properly and put them at the service of their objective quite conscientiously. This is not an easy task because of many interests and points of view that are met, not always convergent, and because of misunderstandings that often prevail. Very often, people from the North propose academic courses and push technical solutions they have already in their know-how. And these solutions are now adapted to the local context. Countries of the South show often enthusiastic about the possibilities to implement rapidly solutions that work in the North. But constraints, they do not see them. So, from my point of view, having the will to establish a dialogue, a real dialogue, taking the time to discuss and jointly imagine acceptable answers are essential steps to success. And that's the reason why, from my point of view, UNESCO is a unique support to enable such conditions to be established around the table. Difficult for national organizations, possible thanks to UNESCO organizations.
We all started about year 2011 in Europe, in England and Spain, and our focus was how can we deliver some kind of solutions alternative solutions to peace in the world and also mental health. And that's what we wanted to, how can we, with what we knew, with our expertise and the combination of enterprise, business culture with science, how can we make it an alternative solution, applying logistics, neuroscience, biology, chemistry, mixing different things, and even yoga and inquiry.
We would like to share with you how STEM is present in all the dynamics that we developed, focused in specific problems, not like mental health or conflict resolution. And when we created this in Europe, we were focused and we had a main purpose. It was to come to Colombia in 2017 to help with the peace process. That we believed it was one of the most challenging tasks at the time. How can we get together, like the different diverse groups of the conflict in the mountain regions, in tropical forests that have been affected by the narco traffic and the war, and how this is also affecting the bigger and wider community. We created different kind of workshops that help to ease the communication and understanding amongst these groups, very diverse in their objectives and their education backgrounds, etc. So, for example, with the Penta Lab, is a workshop that takes 5 different stages, where no one is introduced at the beginning, but rather what is important is for the persons to be guided through the methodology that combines neuroscience, the power of the word, the communication, but also the deep listening, the emotional intelligence, developing close relations, as well as taking them to their dream and to find out the main purpose in their life. So that actually creates a very quick way of connecting, respecting the others and the diverse opinions and backgrounds. And at the end of the 2 hours, they all recognize in each other that there is a kind of the same kind of purpose within, although we have taken different paths in life. So that's in a practical term, it provides us a good example, I would say, that when we combine scientific background with the maybe business background, the army or aviation or engineering, you can create very good solutions, and then we take them to the ground and see what happens with the people, and the results have been very, very fantastic. To give you an example of a real example, in the mountains of Colombia in 2018, middle of 2018, we were working with our diverse team, scientific and motivations, in this community with 147 children from the village in the mountains, surrounded by coca plantations. That's where their main economy is, and there was a problem of many different problems, but let's say facing the issue of environment, the contamination. We wanted is to address it through motivation, and the program is in 5 days to reach with them an entrepreneurial mindset to solve by themselves the problems, and forgetting about the word of we have to wait for someone, the governments, to come and help them. So our main purpose is to empower the communities, starting from the children specifically, and then with them creating teams, pushing them towards a main purpose with a mission, and to collaborate within each other. And after the 5 days, they choose a destination, like a tourist guide based on a 2-hour journey. And finally, the community got together. We reached 38 people that did the walk through the mountains, all guided by the children, created by them, showing the nature, showing the natural plants and the animals, and remembering how they used to be with their parents many years before, enjoying of the river and the nature around. And what it does is it creates this natural connection and respect for their nature. So that's how we approach these kind of problems of environmental impact, empowering the community, creating small projects so that they can realize that it is possible. It is possible for them to actually work together and end up with a product or a service or the creation of a natural route. That was the case. And the children were starting from around 8-year-old, and obviously joining the mothers, the fathers, and youth as well. So that's part of the response to the different programs that Pentagon Wave has, in a combination with chemistry, biology, business mind, motivation, and so those skills are so needed. Because it's rather than just transferring theory and giving them more data and analyzing the problems, what we're looking for is discover very quick the problem, which was 2 tons a week of waste thrown into the natural water and the river, and everyone was concerned about that. In the majority of it was plastic waste. So what we ended up is in a collaboration with the parents and the children, is it was assigned to create plastic tiles. So that was the main purpose, for them to realize that it is possible to create and to solve by themselves some kind of problems. Having a reflection of what we have discovered in the ground about other projects, we have dedicated or created our base in the second lagoon in Colombia, which is Lago de la Cocha, or Lagoon de la Cocha. And it's up in the Andes, around 2,700 meters high. And obviously it's a nature reserve, but we have seen how the communities have started to destroy the trees and the nature so that they can open space for cattle. And that's a big issue, because the consumption of water and the destruction of eradication of the natural diverse forest, etc., is being destroyed. So someone was telling us that at the beginning there was a push for economical support to the community, and this project was based on giving them 1 or 2 cows for milk. But what they don't visualize to the future is that these kind of territories are so fragile that 10 years later The people that were given maybe 2 cows, they have now 30, 40, 50 cows. And the space and the land that they need, obviously, he has multiplied. So that's, I think, one of the biggest insights that we discovered. No, that is that we have to be able to create a vision for the long term. It is not necessary, or is to try to solve just an immediate problem. Every organization that works in communities and wants to support them, the first one could be is to create a 10, 20, 50-year vision with them. That would be one of our main insights.